Talk about our travel agency?
Yeah, for sure. Let's mix it up.
All right, we got Kirsten Bernthal booth. They went 1-1 over the weekend and are finally back home with St. John's and Seton Hall this weekend. Coach, just summarize last weekend, look ahead to this weekend.
Yeah, obviously we were disappointed to lose the Xavier match. We've got to learn some things. There's just some areas that we've got to get better and get more offensive production. Both teams were fast tempo. We had trouble defending that a little bit, and we're going to face the St. John's team that runs fast tempo too. So we've been working a lot on that. Both St. John's and Seton Hall are coming off of 2-0 weekends, and both look very good. So, it doesn't get easier, and we need to be ready to go. But we're sure excited to get back home after being on the road for several weeks and play in front of our fans.
Go ahead with questions.
I guess the immediate one is how has the response been so far? Because I know coming off of losses and have to wait a week before you play again is always the tricky part. You think about it so much. So
Yeah.
How has the response been from the players so far?
I've been really pleased. I sent him a text on Sunday afternoon and said, hey, the sun came up, and I said, I've bounced, so I hope you guys have all bounced. And I thought they came in really energized. We've had 2 really good practices. Execution's been okay, but energy's been great. So, I think we still have physically, we got to get better in some areas, obviously. But right now you're trying to, like you said, how do you respond to a loss emotionally? A lot of time is what you're looking for. And maybe it's part of the team responds and then part of them are moping. And I haven't seen any of that. I've seen all 18 of them bounce emotionally and work hard and be energized in practice. So, I really have liked that.
You mentioned, way back in the preseason that you didn't want these kind of position battles to be fluid, but the right side has been so far. How has it been to, for the staff and you guys to coach that up when players are kind of getting multiple opportunities to kind of just take that spot and no one really has yet?
I think the hardest part is for the athletes on that. And you're right, it's been fluid. I think, you want to, if someone's not getting the spot, you want to give other people opportunities. So you get it from, as a coach, I get it, right? We got to keep trying things until we, figure it out and get more production. The flip side is I know it's hard for athletes because they may be playing in fear or why am I not getting a shot? And so you've got some dynamics that make it more challenging. But, the thing that I've been so impressed with is the players have supported each other. And I think sometimes it can become adversarial between the players. One example was, Kiara had started a match and got pulled and is helping Bickelmeyer. I told you that. So I'm seeing that sort of response with them. And this week we're trying to stat a lot and try to get, we're trying to make statistical decisions as much as possible as we evaluate because, and then we're also trying some different things to see whether we can get some more production.
You talked about how you felt that it was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you said it might be easier to play in some of those hostile environments, and the real challenge is maybe when you might not get as many of those. I think in the Big East, you're maybe getting some of the latter there. Has that been a challenge at all for you guys? Maybe not playing in front of those roaring crowds like you had in non-conference?
I don't think that played a factor in our loss. I think that's all accurate. What I see more is the pressure switches, right? You go to Minnesota, they're picked in front of you. At a minimum, it's a head-to-head competition that it's just go time, right? But in some of these matches, you can see the stress on the players and I think the coaches too of gosh, we're not supposed to lose. And so I think one of our challenges with our team and our staff is figuring out how to relax them and let them just play to the level that they're capable of playing and play loose. And, that's been an ongoing discussion with them, with our staff of, how do we let them play confident and just in loose more than anything.
To that effect, your next 3 are either going to be against someone who's ahead of you in the standings or at worst tied with you. Does that, in a kind of a weird way, give you the chance to regain an edge? Like you have something to take when you hit the floor as opposed to something to lose? Playing with that kind of fear.
That you're saying that, they're all in front of us, standing-wise?
Yeah.
I don't think they look too much at that, to be honest, Matt. So, no, I don't think so. I think I think right now we're really focused on ourselves. Like, we've got to get more production out of some areas and be better on first contacts. We've got to get teams out of system more. I thought we'd passed really well, and I thought we struggled in the Xavier match passing-wise. Our numbers dipped some. So, those sort of things, I think, we're trying to put our focus back on ourselves a little bit more.
Anything else?
Yeah, Ava and Kendra had a lot of those first contacts against Xavier. I guess, I don't know, there's only so much you can do because there's 6 players on the court, but when you know that those are going to be the targets, especially because of what it does, the chain reaction to your offense, is there anything that needs to be different in terms of who's taking first contacts and the quality of them to get your offense kind of in system and give yourself a higher chance to terminate?
So you said Ava and Kendra. Kendra doesn't take first contacts, or are you talking serving?
Yeah, just like when she has to kind of chase a errant one down and she doesn't kind of get a chance to set a good second ball, I guess.
Well,
she's better.
Ava was statistically our best passer last weekend, so I think Ava's doing a great job. I mean, Kendra has no control over whether the first contact is good, so she has to chase it down. Maybe I'm not understanding the question.
Yeah, I guess when Ava has first contact, obviously that's tough because teams are going to try to wear her out that way. And then when Kendra kind of has to chase a pass that isn't quite where it needs to be in the well or the donut, it makes your offense more predictable, right? Because there's only
Sure, you're out of system.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what are the things that need to be done to clean that part up to make your offense more diverse and to actually make a defense have to guess more than just predict?
Well, we have to pass better. I mean, so I think, like I talked about, our passing's been really good, and we struggled some this week. So, we're going back to not to the drawing board, but we're discussing bunching and things like that, or, identifying where, where they're serving us in specific rotations. We look at all of that. Who's struggling in what rotations. I will say it's not a consistent player or position, is what we're seeing statistically. So I think we're going back to basics from a fundamental standpoint, just reminding them of, what, they can't pop their shoulders when they're passing, or that's going to lead to a one pass, and, some of those fundamentals. I don't think anything's broken. We just didn't pass as well as we did, as we have been passing. We had, I think Xavier had one particular server we really struggled with. So, talking about how do we deal with a server that's really good. Maybe we're not trying to get a perfect pass in those scenarios. We're trying to just get it to the center of the court so that we can get a 2 pass and have 2 options on it. So, so nothing radical. Kendra running around the court is the function of a good serving team, or we're not passing well, and I don't think it's a quick fix, unfortunately. But if you have ideas, I feel like you've got an idea for me that's just sitting there.
The follow-up to that was, I guess, you mentioned passive versus aggressive and kind of that mindset or whatever. Like, I think people would assume that's more, are you taking aggressive swings, are you being aggressive with the net, but is passing about aggressive versus
Sure,
passive?
yeah. Going to get the ball as compared to it coming to you. You don't want to be on your heels. You want your weight forward. You want your platform out. You don't want the ball behind you. So absolutely being aggressive, going to attack the ball is something we talk about from a passing standpoint.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.